Good afternoon, fight fans. AC Cooper from Eastwood Boxing UK here, and I'm bringing you my fight predictions for the weekend from Cooper's Corner. By now, you guys should know the drill. Eastwood Boxing UK is in association with ThreeKingsBoxing.com. It's a website that I write for daily, and it brings you completely unbiased news and views. If you've not checked it out already, please feel free to do so. We're making some real waves. We've made some real progress in the short space of time that we've been doing this. So, guys, check it out. I really can't thank my listeners enough for how well this channel's growing. Every video that I do, I'm getting more and more views. It means a lot, but don't forget to subscribe, and I'd really appreciate it if you did. Okay, guys, I'm going to break down what I think are the top 5 fights this weekend. So please note, Sergey Kovalev's fight will not be included, as it's really not a competitive fight in my opinion. So the first one appears on the undercard of Kell Brook making his debut in the 154-pound division, and that is for the WBC International Super Bantamweight title, and that's being battled out by Gamal Yafai and Gavin McDonnell. If you're unfamiliar with either of these guys, you might be more familiar with their more famous siblings. So Gamal's older brother is Kal Yafai, who is the WBA Super Flyweight champion, and Gavin's twin brother is Jamie McDonnell, who holds the regular WBA title at the bantamweight limit. They're both actually quite fairly similar in style to their siblings. So Yafai's got a really great amateur pedigree. He's very good fundamentally, as you'd expect with someone of his background. He's got very fast hands, fast feet, and he's got more pop than his older brother, actually. And he's stopped half of his 14 opponents thus far. Gavin McDonnell, he does everything well. He does. He's a very astute, very technically sound boxer, but he doesn't excel in any attribute. He's the older man at 31, and for me, I mean, he lost a world title fight last year against Ray Vargas. For me, it's really now or never for him. What impresses me most actually about Gavin is his work rate, which he doesn't have an awful lot of punch power. He's only got 5 knockouts on his record, but his work rate is astonishing. I'm going to take Yafai in this one by a close decision. I just think at this stage in Gavin's career, because he's not a big puncher and he hasn't been able to take his guys out early, he's been through quite a lot of hard fights. He's got a lot more miles on the tank, and I just think technically Yafai is that little bit better than he is, and he carries that much more pop, which will wear him down in the later rounds. So that's my prediction on that one. Up next is the main event of the fight that I just mentioned. So Kell Brook is taking on Sergey Rabchenko for the WBC light middleweight title, silver light middleweight title. Sorry, got my words a bit mixed up there. Hopefully you've seen my video yesterday breaking this fight down. Kell's coming back off a 2-defeat streak and making his debut in the 154-pound division. Rabchenko is a solid Euro-level fighter, but as I said yesterday in my video, which I'll put at I'll clip it up at the end of this, is that this guy has been put in there to boost Brook's confidence. He's lost 2 of his last 4, and every time he's stepped up to even fringe world level, he's lost. So my sense is that Kell is far too skilled for Rabchenko, although I think mentally he's going to be quite wary early. But I'm going to go for a Brook stoppage in the later rounds. Third one up, we've got Dimitri Bivol, Sullivan Barrera. Again, hopefully you've all seen my breakdown on ThreeKingsBoxing.com. If you've not, go ahead and check that out, because this gives a more detailed breakdown than I'm going to give you now. We know far more about Sullivan Barrera than we do against Bivol. So Barrera's actually got a really good jab, which he's going to have to use to discourage Bivol from coming forwards. But he needs to stay focused, as I've seen in several of his fights, that he has a tendency to become wild when he does. If you become wild, you then become vulnerable, and against a big puncher like Bivol, that's something that you just simply don't want to do. For me, Bivol is still somewhat of an unknown entity. His offense is his defense, pure and simple, and he's steamrolled everyone that he's faced thus far. So again, unknown quantity, and you don't know whether there's a bit of hype surrounding him, and there's a lot of people, myself included, that think that he could, now that Ward's gone, for at least for the time being maybe, that he could very well be the next big thing at 175 pounds. But, and I do say but, if Bivol is all hype, then Sullivan Barrera is going to show us on Saturday night. But I do, again, because of the punch power, we saw Barrera dropped by Joe Smith Jr., I'm going to favour Bivol, and I'm going to say again in a late stoppage. Next, we've got the Durrell Uzcategui. I can never pronounce that, for the vacant IBF super middleweight title. This is obviously a rematch from the ill-fated fight last year that got Uzcategui disqualified for an alleged punch after the bell that resulted in Durrell's uncle punching Uzcategui, which I'm sure you guys have all seen. Personally, I think the punch was on the bell, not after, and it should have stood. I also think that Durrell made a meal of it, but hey, who am I to say? For me, Andre Durrell hasn't really lived up to the hype. I think actually saying that he's quite unlucky not to have already been a world champion after being on the returning end of a gift home decision for Carl Froch in Nottingham all those years ago. I think he's on the way down, in all honesty. This is his last real chance at a title for me. Obviously, the full IBF title holder is Caleb Truax, but it's likely that he's going to fight James DeGale in a rematch next. I think Durrell's best days are behind him. So I'm going to take Uzcategui in this fight. I think that whilst Durrell is a better boxer, we've seen previously, like in the DeGale fight, he is susceptible to punch power, which Uzcategui has got in abundance. So there we go. Right, main event time. Again, guys, put an article on 3kingsboxing.com about this literally this afternoon. So Wilder Ortiz for the WBC World Heavyweight title. I'll try and make this brief, guys. As I say, I'm sure that you're sick to death of all the previews that you've got. I did my own one, which again I'll clip onto this channel at the end. So Ortiz does almost everything better than Wilder does technically. Ortiz obviously got a great amateur pedigree. Wilder doesn't. I'm saying that he's got an Olympic bronze medal, but there we go. That being said, when Wilder uses his jab, he's effective with it, and it's actually really effective, mostly because the guy standing in front of him is wary of when the right hand's going to come, so it puts people off. That could make for a boring opening few rounds, but there you go. That's boxing's boxing. If he wants to stick to his boxing, let the man stick to his boxing. Wilder's greatest attribute, aside from having the mother of all right hands, and let me say this now, Wilder is the hardest punching heavyweight in the world. Pure and simple. He's pretty much the only one-punch knockout guy at top level. Joshua isn't really. Ortiz is kind of. Parker certainly isn't. Fury certainly isn't. And then you've got Wilder. Right, there you go. Wilder's biggest attribute is that he's awkward and unorthodox. So, in the fact that he's unorthodox, his opponent doesn't know where his attacks are going to come from. So, for Ortiz to win, he's going to need to set traps for Wilder. If he is going to win, the pure and simple. Because I expect that the longer the fight goes on, I think that Ortiz is not the age that he says he is, and I think that he'll fade badly down the stretch. So for me, he needs to force Wilder to step in behind his jab, feinting and stepping back, creating opportunities to counter with those big uppercuts he throws. That for me is personally his best chance of winning the fight. That being said, Wilder is going to land at some point, and I simply can't look past his power. So I'm saying that Wilder will KO him within 6 rounds. That's about it from me, guys. Obviously, as I said at the start of the video, I really, really appreciate all of you paying attention to my channel, paying attention to 3kingsboxing.com. Shout out to the movement and everybody that's moving with that. So don't forget to check out the other channels under the movement umbrella, like Eastwood Boxing, Eastwood Boxing, Truth and Facts About Boxing, Colossal Boxing Talk, and Truth and Facts About Boxing as well. Guys, if you've got any thoughts, feelings, leave me a comment at the end of the video. I hope you enjoy the weekend's action. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I will personally be staying up till I'll be staying up till the early hours. I'll pop the Wilder fight on live. I'll record the Kovalev fight on Box Nation, and I'll watch that when I get up in the morning. Enjoy. All the best. Until next time.